There's one movie that shocks me that we still haven't gotten yet, and that's a movie about C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien's friendship. So here's my plea to executive in Hollywood to make this movie happen. I grew up with Narnia. My older brother actually read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to me, and I've always loved fantasy novels. By the time I was 6 years old, my brother had already shown me the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I absolutely loved it. Fun fact, those behind the scenes videos that are on YouTube actually sparked my love into movie making. As I got a little bit older, that's when I learned about the fathers of fantasy and the friendship between Lewis and Tolkien. In case you don't know, here's a little backstory. C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien met at Oxford University in 1926. Both were professors at the time, and at first they butted heads over literature. They both shared a love of mythology, storytelling, and language. By 1930, they actually formed the Inklings, which was a group of writers and professors who came together to share their stories. During this time, Lewis was writing the Chronicles of Narnia, and Tolkien was working on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But despite their friendship, they didn't always see eye to eye. Tolkien actually hated Narnia and really didn't like the myths and mythologies, while Lewis, on the other hand, had always supported Tolkien in the writing of the Lord of the Rings. Eventually, the Inklings disbanded, Lewis and Tolkien faded apart, and when Lewis died in 1963, Tolkien was really hurt. He wrote, "So far I felt the normal feeling of a man my age, like an old tree losing its leaves one by one. This feels like an axe blow near the roots." Fast forward today, and now we know them as the fathers of fantasy. I'd love to see a film that follows their entire journey from the first time they met to the publication of their books to the end of their friendship and ultimately Lewis's death. It would be an incredible story of friendship and bring two young actors that can portray these roles. And no, I'm not talking about Timothée Chalamet and Tom Holland, but also, I wouldn't be mad. And most importantly, I think people would love this. I know so many of my friends who love The Lord of the Rings, and I think it'd be so interesting to dive into that world that created these giant juggernauts of fantasy. Now, I know Angel Guide, a movie studio, has already announced a movie about their friendship called The Fellowship, and I know we have already gotten separate stories of Lewis and Tolkien before, but I would love to see a big, sweeping, beautiful movie that showcases their friendship and how it built these two giant worlds that a lot of people love today. This is something that I'm super passionate about, and I'm hoping I can see sometime in my lifetime. But I want to ask, what movie do you think Hollywood should make?